I am Sergeant Air Gunner Andrew Stephen, service number 1572098, and I served with 49th Squadron Royal Air Force Volunteer Reserve. This is my story up to the 6th of October 1944. I was the third son of Police Constable Andrew Stephen and his wife Elizabeth. I was born on the 14th of December 1917. My older brothers Alexander and Adam were twins, born 3 years before me, and my younger brother John was nearly 3 years my junior. My father had joined the Ayrshire Constabulary on the 20th of July 1908 and retired in 1943 after 35 years of service, the last 10 of which were in Straighton. After my father's retirement, my parents moved to Prestwick and set up home at 105 Burial Hill Road. I followed in the footsteps of my older brother Adam, who joined a few years earlier and joined the Ayrshire Constabulary in March 1939. Initially, I was posted to Troon. By the 10th of June 1941, when I married Anna Stewart in Troon Old Church, I'd been transferred to Muirkirk and was living in the police station there. On the 10th of March 1942, my son, also named Andrew, was born, and our family made our home at 54 Smallburn in Muirkirk. By 1944, all four of his brothers were in active service. Adam was a sergeant flight engineer in the Royal Air Force. Alexander was stationed in Ceylon as an able seaman in the Royal Navy. John, who had been in the Scots Guards, was now in the Royal Corps of Signals, attached to a paratrooper unit. He saw a lot of action, which unfortunately led to him being wounded at the Battle of Arnhem. He spent the rest of the war as a prisoner in the Stalag IXC in Germany. I joined the Royal Air Force Volunteer Reserve, and by early October 1944, I was a sergeant stationed at RAF Fiskerton near Lincoln. I was serving as an air gunner on a Lancaster bomber in No. 49 Squadron. Our squadron was part of 5-Group Bomber Command and was heavily involved in bombing strategic industrial targets and cities in Germany. On the 6th of October 1944, Bomber Command launched a major attack on the German city of Bremen in Saxony. 1 and 5 groups combined to send a force of 246 Lancaster bombers and supporting mosquitoes on this mission. 17 of those aircraft were from No. 49 Squadron, including our aircraft number PB429. Our crew consisted of myself and 6 fellow members. We were one of the 5 new crews on this raid, flying together on our very first operation. Our pilot, Flying Officer Cyril Beatson, took off from Fiskerton at 17 minutes past 5 this evening. With him were Flying Officer Eric Burton as navigator, Sergeant Dennis Harrison as flight engineer, Bomb Aimer Flying Officer James Charles King, Mid-Upper Gunner Flying Officer John William Murray, Radio Operator Flying Officer Lance Raymond McMonigal, and myself as the air gunner. After the raid, the aircraft began returning to Fiskerton around 10 o'clock tonight, but by 10:38, only 15 of the 17 had returned. The 2 missing aircraft were the first casualties from our squadron since late July 1944. The aircraft I was on was one of those missing. Back home, my parents received the devastating news that not only was I missing, but their youngest son John was also unaccounted for, while they later received positive news at their Prestwick home about John and his imprisonment in Germany. It was overshadowed by the confirmation that I had been killed along with my crew. Our aircraft was brought down at 11 minutes past 8 this evening and crashed in Leuchtenburg, east of Almond-Hammersbeck, just north of Bremen. I was originally buried alongside my fellow crew members in the civilian cemetery at Wesermunde, near where our aircraft had crashed. However, on the 3rd of August 1946, our bodies were reinterred in Becklingen War Cemetery, near the town of Bergen, north of Hanover, and not far from the site of the infamous Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, which was liberated by British troops in April 1945. Along with my commemoration on the Ayrshire Police War Memorial, I am also remembered on the Civic War Memorial Gateway in Muirkirk and on my parents' headstone in Monkton and Prestwick Cemetery. My wife Anna received the standard pension and child allowance from the Ayrshire Constabulary after I was killed. However, by January 1951, she was only receiving a £14 per annum allowance for her son because she had remarried and was now Mrs. Anna Russell, living at the Strand in Abington, Lanarkshire. Following her decision to emigrate to Canada with young Andrew and her second husband, she successfully applied for and received a gratuity payment of £87 from the force instead of the child's allowance.